Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're uncovering those invisible financial lines that fundamentally change how institutions, strangers, and even your own family treat you. Think about it. There is a highly specific moment when you walk into your bank and the teller stops calling you sir or ma'am out of corporate policy and suddenly starts calling you by your first name out of genuine interest. You are the exact same person. Literally, the only thing that changed is a number on their screen. So today we're not just talking about getting rich, we are mapping out the specific thresholds where the world literally rearranges itself around you.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the average wealth illusion, then hit level 1, the first 100K, level 2, the millionaire secret, level 3, freedom money, and wrap up with the trap of enough.
Section 1, the average wealth illusion.
Before we start climbing the wealth ladder, we absolutely have to shatter the biggest myth out there about American wealth. Check this out. The average American household net worth is over $1 million. Now, when you hear that number, your brain probably immediately goes, man, I am totally failing. But the median, the actual true middle point, is dramatically lower. Why? Because a tiny, absurdly wealthy group at the very top yanks the average upward. It's like a kid hanging off a curtain rod, dragging the whole thing up. The average is a fairy tale. The median is the real story.
The real story is that the true middle ground, the median, is just under $200,000. That means half of all families have less than this. Most people out there are not secretly millionaires. Most people are genuinely one busted car transmission away from a very, very stressful month. That is the actual map of the landscape. So now that we know the reality, let's start climbing. Section 2, Level 1, the first 100K.
Building your financial foundation starts at a number that might sound, well, kind of small compared to the billionaire headlines we see every day. But listen to this quote from Charlie Munger. He is ruthlessly accurate here. Getting your hands on that first 100 grand requires extreme sacrifice. You might be clipping coupons, walking instead of driving, whatever it takes, but you have to do it. Why would a billionaire care about 100K? Because crossing that specific line unlocks absolute mathematical magic.
Look at how this snowball effect works in real time. The rule of 72 tells us money doubles roughly every 10 years at a standard 7% return. At $100,000, your 7% return gets you $7,000 a year. Hey, that's a decent used car. But watch what happens as the snowball grows. At $1 million, that exact same 7% effort spits out 70 grand. That's a median full-time salary, literally while you're sleeping. At $5 million, it's $350,000. The effort didn't change at all. You're pushing the exact same boulder up the exact same hill. The snowball just got huge. Getting to the first 100K is like pushing a car uphill in the pouring rain, simply because the snowball is still tiny.
But here's the real kicker. Hitting that 100K net worth quietly yanks you straight out of the most financially fragile group in the country. Get this, 44% of people making over 6 figures a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. No way, right? But once you actually have $100,000 in liquid breathing room, compound interest finally stops working against you and starts working for you. And guess what? This is the very first time the system actually notices you. The bank might give you a slightly nicer waiting room, better credit card rewards, maybe a tiny mortgage discount. It's really just math treating you differently, but it is the absolute bedrock for everything that comes next.
Section 3, Level 2, the millionaire secret.
Now, at the $1 million mark, we're not just talking about minor perks anymore. We're stepping into an entirely hidden system of wealth management. To ground this in reality, let's look at the famous 4% rule. This financial planning staple basically says $1 million today buys you a safe withdrawal of about $40,000 a year, pretty much forever. Now, 40 grand a year for doing absolutely nothing? That is fantastic. You never have to panic about a broken water heater again. But let's be real. It's comfortable for sure, but it's definitely not private jet money.
Actually, to get the buying power of a millionaire from the 1990s, the era that really popularized the word millionaire, you would need $2.5 million today. The bar moved, but the word didn't. That's exactly why massive wealth managers like the Swiss bank UBS publicly call the $1 million threshold outdated. But behind closed doors, $1 million is exactly where the financial system starts assigning you an actual human being, waiving your ATM fees and sliding you invitations to private, exclusive events.
Okay, here is the real hidden secret of the wealthy at this level. It's a VIP tool called a securities-backed line of credit. See, wealthy people don't just get rich and spend their money. They get rich and then they borrow against their money. It's a precise 3-step playbook. Buy assets, borrow against them, and never sell. It's kind of like financial Schrodinger's cat. You get to spend your savings, but your savings are still sitting right there, compounding and growing in the background. Let's put this into perspective with a strategy from JP Morgan. Imagine you've got a $10 million portfolio, and you want to buy something for $3 million. If you sell off the stock, boom, you trigger a massive tax bill, and that chunk of money completely stops compounding. It's just gone. But if you borrow the $3 million at a low interest rate, using your assets as collateral, your entire $10 million stays invested. Even after you pay the interest, the growth on your full portfolio can leave you roughly 31% ahead in just a single year. This is literally how the wealthy completely bypass the traditional poor person tax.
Section 4, Level 3, Freedom Money. This next tier usually sits between $5 and $10 million, and it's where the social and psychological rules just get completely thrown out the window. Only 1.6% of American households ever cross into this elite bracket. At this level, work is permanently optional. Your money is passively generating hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And because you don't actually need the money, you suddenly start negotiating your life from a place of total calm. You can't be pressured, you can't be scared by a layoff. Weirdly enough, needing absolutely nothing from a room earns you way more respect from it. The financial system literally rolls out the velvet rope, handing you teams of professionals whose only job is to keep you happy.
But crossing this massive threshold triggers a very real, very hidden dark side. Those gurus posing next to rented sports cars on the internet, they will never ever mention this to you. Hitting freedom money comes with a huge social cost. Psychologists literally call it sudden wealth syndrome, a clinical condition that causes deep guilt, extreme paranoia, and profound isolation after coming into serious money fast.
The symptoms are no joke. Think about lottery winners. Statistics famously prove that if you drop a giant pile of money onto a life that isn't built to hold it, the money just leaks right out the bottom. The absolute second word gets out that you've hit this level of success, people materialize out of nowhere. Long-lost cousins pitching vending machine businesses, old high school friends, salespeople, charities, they will absolutely deluge you. It leads to intense decision paralysis and, frankly, a whole lot of money lost to bankruptcy.
And beyond the paranoia, you run smack into something called the crab bucket mentality. If you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket, any crab that tries to climb out gets dragged right back down by the others. Well, people do this too. Even well-meaning friends will instinctively try to pull you back down simply because your visible financial rise quietly highlights their own stagnation. It's a tough pill to swallow, but financial freedom sometimes shows up holding hands with the complete loss of your freedom to fully trust anyone.
Section 5, The Trap of Enough.
Finally, we have to confront the ultimate boss fight of wealth building. This is the psychological trap waiting at the very top of the ladder. Financial surveys consistently reveal that the goalposts don't just move, they literally sprint away from you. The person with $1 million looks up at the person with $2.5 million and feels poor. It's wild. Your brain completely adjusts to every new level of wealth in about 30 days, and then it quietly demands the next level. It's a relentless, exhausting treadmill, meaning nobody escapes this cycle by accident. So you really need to ask yourself right now, what is your enough? Because the absolute only way to actually win this game is to decide what enough means to you, before the moving goalposts decide it for you. You could cross every single net worth line we've talked about today and still be completely, utterly miserable. You have to pick your number, make it yours, and then deliberately, consciously stop when you reach it. Remember that bank teller from the very beginning of the explainer, the one who suddenly learned your name? The secret nobody says out loud is that they were never really reacting to you. They were just reacting to the digits on a screen. The ultimate victory in wealth building is ensuring your own self-worth is never, ever tied to that number. So are you building wealth just to impress the teller, or are you building it to finally set yourself free? Define your number before the system defines it for you. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.